Hey, what's going on, guys? It's the Coaster Battleman here, returning from vacation with another new video, the top 10 B&M roller coasters I've ridden. And B&M is by far my favorite roller coaster manufacturer, and these are my 10 favorite B&Ms I've ridden so far, according to August of 2018. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, and yeah, let's move on. And before I get started with the main countdown, I'm just gonna apologize for any inconveniences you guys may have for me being not uploading for like a little over a week, but school will be starting for me in like a week or two, like very soon. So I'm gonna try and get as many videos as I can done within these next 7 to 10 days. Trying to get some pretty good, cool content in. So yeah, we are moving on to number 10. We have Griffin as the number 10 B&M I've ridden. And the first time I rode this back in 2014, this was my favorite roller coaster at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. And I've ridden it 6 times in my life. And I've ridden it on all different seats in different rows. And like every seat I sit in, it's glossy smooth. This is by far the smoothest roller coaster I've ever ridden. Easily. It's just wow, just glossy smooth. And the drop is very fun. The inversions are pretty solid, even though they're both Immelmans. The water splashdown is definitely a nice element, and I really do like the color scheme of this coaster. Despite this coaster being really short, I still prefer it over Valraven, just because of the smoothness. Even though this coaster has a worse layout, I prefer it just because of its super smooth ride experience in any seat you choose. Number 9 is Rougarou, and this is the B&M Floorless at Cedar Point. And when I made my top 10 roller coasters at Cedar Point video, this was in the top 5 at number 5. This is my favorite B&M at Cedar Point, and definitely for good reason, especially in the back row. Like, in the back row, you'll get some pretty good airtime on the first drop. Like I'm being serious, the back row gives some awesome airtime, as long as you're not stapled. The inversions are fantastic, in my opinion. The vertical loop is very nice. The incline loop is very good. The corkscrew is good. Like, just overall, the inversions on this coaster are very fun, and I really like the ending with the stand-up coaster style turns. It's just a very fun ride. Kind of weird that it was a stand-up coaster, but very enjoyable floorless coaster, and my favorite B&M at Cedar Point. Now, because Gatekeeper isn't nearly as smooth as it used to be, so yeah, spoiler alert, it won't be on the list. Number 8 is Raging Bull. So Raging Bull at Six Flags Great America, my home park, is a very solid B&M hypercoaster, and I watched Canada Coaster Fans' top 10 roller coasters at Six Flags Great America video, and like a week or two ago, and whenever he uploaded it, like his new one, and I was really angry that he put Raging Bull at number 6, because, well, Raging Bull's a very fun coaster. Even though this coaster doesn't have much airtime, the airtime you get on this is awesome. It has good quality airtime, even though there's not that much, but I still think it's very good. The layout is pretty fun. It's not really crazy for airtime, though. That's kind of my main complaint with Raging Bull, but the airtime moments it has are good. The turns are solid. This is just a fun ride, in my opinion. Raging Bull is just pure fun, and I really think this is a super smooth ride. Like, I've always remembered this coaster being glossy smooth for me, and it's a very fun coaster, just not as good as the top 7. So number 7 is Dominator, and I prefer it over Raging Bull for many reasons. I'm not really going to go in depth with that, but I do prefer it over Raging Bull. And Dominator, it's by far my favorite floorless of the 2 I've ridden. And overall, the drop is very fun. I really like that curved drop. The vertical loop is fantastic. Easily my favorite inversion on the coaster. The Cobra roll is fantastic. The corkscrews, they're pretty solid. I really think they're decent inversions, but that first half of the coaster is just unbelievable with that vertical loop and Cobra roll. And you have some pretty solid turns in there as well. And overall, Dominator, it's a very fun B&M. And I really wish King's Dominion had more B&Ms. And this is easily one of the best coasters at King's Dominion. Very fun B&M floorless coaster. And definitely an underrated ride. NumberSix is Banshee, and from this moment on, we're getting into the elite tier of roller coasters, of B&M roller coasters I've ridden, and Banshee, definitely an awesome B&M invert. It's not my number one invert, but I still think this is such a fantastic ride at Kings Island. It's not really that intense compared to other B&M inverts I've ridden, but I really do like the drop. The inversions are fun, and that final inversion transitioning into the closing helix, that is easily my favorite transition on any coaster I've ridden. And the vertical loops are fun. There's a pretzel element on there. And just overall, Banshee is just a very fun ride. And I really love it. Plus it has a pretty cool theme as well, and a pretty neat looking logo. NumberFive is Apollo's Chariot, and this is the B&M Hyper at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, and you're going to see mostly B&M Hypers or Gigas coming up. But Apollo's Chariot, it's a very fun B&M hypercoaster. The airtime is fantastic. It's just airtime hill after airtime hill after airtime hill, and this ride definitely delivers. The airtime is very fun. This coaster has kind of a weird color scheme, but I don't really mind it. This ride is such a long ride, and definitely one of my favorite coasters I've ridden, and easily the best coaster at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. It's a very fun ride. The airtime is fantastic, and it's super long and very smooth. NumberFour is Diamondback, and this coaster, it's very smooth. It may have a slight rattle just like Banshee, but it's still just an awesome ride. Like, the airtime is very good, and I know I've gotten a lot better rides this year because I figured out how to not get stapled on B&M hypercoasters, and the airtime was just fantastic, like super strong, and I was flying out of my seat for several seconds. It was fantastic, and Diamondback's super long, and it's a great night ride as well. Just such a great ride, and that water splashdown is a very unique element on it. So we are at the top three, and number 3 is Afterburn, and I could have went either way with Diamondback or Afterburn, but I decided to choose Afterburn for some few reasons. I feel like it's a lot more intense, and I feel like, yeah, I just prefer it more. But Afterburn, the drop is very good. It's not something to shout at, but I think the drop's good. But the thing that I love about Afterburn is the intensity levels and the smoothness. The inversions on this ride are very, very intense and very fun. I really love the smoothness on Afterburn. It's super intense, plus it's super smooth. There's like no head banging at all, and it's just such a fun ride. Plus, there's a mist effect area somewhere on the ride when you dive deep into a tunnel and then go back up into an inversion. There is some fog that you go through, or that's when at least I rode it, back in May or June, like May and early June. So Afterburn is such a fun B&M invert. We are moving on to number 2. We have Intimidator, and yeah, Intimidator is just an awesome B&M. And like overall, the airtime on this coaster is easily the best airtime on any coaster I've ridden other than Steel Vengeance. Like, the airtime is just pure floater airtime. The drop is fantastic. The airtime hills are very good. You have some very good good drops in there, and the ride time is just super good. Super long, glossy smooth, A+ airtime. It's just fantastic, but not as good as Fury 325. So yeah, my 3 favorite B&Ms are all the Carowinds B&Ms. Well, except for Vortex, because that's one of the worst B&Ms I've ridden, but we're moving on. We have Fury 325, and this is easily the #1 B&M I've ridden. And easily the best ride at Carowinds. No doubt about that. Like, the drop is just fantastic. And, man, Fury 325, I'm not even going to drive into detail. The airtime, it's not as much as Intimidator, but Giga Coasters aren't known for airtime, but this is an all-around ride. The turns are awesome. The airtime is awesome. You have a fly-through element under a bridge that enters the park. Plus, you have some very nice, Fury 325. Easily the best B&M I've ridden. Thank you guys so much for watching. And stay tuned for more videos.